Alright, so this is Chapter 1, Algebra 1 for AG6, solving equations. Hopefully, again, that you get your questions answered before you kind of come to this video, or if you're kind of making up any missing assignments, please let me know. So for this problem right here, if you're looking, we're solving equations, so again, our ultimate goal is to try to get x by itself on one side and some number value to the other, okay? So for this one, hopefully you see the example problem here. So 4x plus 4x minus 3 is equal to 6x plus 9, okay? So what we got to do here first and foremost is we got to make sure that all of our terms are simplified and we can combine them on each side. So in this case, the first thing we do is we do 4x and 4x. We put those things together because they are like terms. In this case, that will give us an 8x. So we have 8x and then minus that 3 is equal to 6x plus 9. Our goal is then to get the x value on one side of the equation and then the numbers on the other. So in this case, that 6x subtracts because it is positive, and those cancel out, and we're left with just that 2x value, and that is equal to that negative 3, okay, added over to the other side, and we have that 9. So in this case, that 12x. Divide by 2, and you end up getting a value of 6, all right? So therefore, when we have that, we are able to go back and actually solve for our problems. In this case, we can also check our solution by plugging it back in to make sure that it does in fact equal. All right, so for the first problem here, number 1, it has negative x plus 3 is equal to 6. First thing we're going to do is undo what we began. So in this case, that positive 3 and negative 3. So when we subtract both of those, we get negative x is equal to 6 minus 3, which is a positive 3. Then what we do is we have to make sure that our value of x is actually positive. So in this case, what we're going to do is divide by negative 1 on both sides in order to make it positive. In this case, what happens is the sign flips, and we're left with just x is equal to a negative 3. So we go back and check to make sure that this solution does work. So our check here, in this case, we're going to plug in a negative 3 into our solution. Plus 3 is equal to that 6. If you note here, a negative and a negative together, or a negative distributed over parentheses, will give you a positive 3. And in this case, 3 plus 3, and that's equal to 6. So therefore, our solution checks out. All right, our next one. We have to combine like terms here. So in this case, 4y minus 2y. So in this, we're going to combine. So therefore, we have 2y minus 8 is equal to a positive 4. Next thing we do is we got to make sure that we get all of our numbers on one side and our variable on the other. So in this case, to undo a negative 8, I add 8 to both sides, and I have 2y is equal to 12, and therefore I divide by 2 on both sides, and my y is going to equal a positive 6. Okay, so that's our next one. Again, we're going to go about and check this. For the check here, all right, what you're going to do is you're going to plug in for y the value of 6. All right, so we have that form. 6 times 4 gives me 24, minus 8. Negative 2 times 6 gives me a negative 12. And again, that's all equal to 4. We're going to put our like terms together, so 24 minus 8 gives me 16. 16 minus a negative 12, or 16 minus 12 gives me a positive 4. And therefore, since those solutions check, therefore they work out. All right, so first two. Next one, we're going to have 2x minus 7 is equal to negative x minus 1. Our first thing we're going to do here is we're going to add x to both sides. So we have x on one side. So we'll have 3x minus 7 is equal to a negative 1. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to add 7 to both sides to get the x alone. So that 3x is equal to a positive 6. The last thing we're going to do is divide by 3 on both sides, and that x is going to equal a positive 2. All right, so that's our next answer. We're going to go back and check it in this. So in case that checks, so we have 2 multiplied with that 2 value, minus 7 is equal to that negative value of 2 minus 1. Okay? So therefore, we're going to simplify our sides. 2 times 2 gives us 4, minus that 7 is equal to a negative 2 minus 1. And then the last thing we do, 4 minus 7, gives us that negative 3, and a negative 2 minus 1 gives us that negative 3 as well. Okay? So therefore, we know that solution also checks out too. All right, moving along. We're going to move up to number 4 here. Number 4, we have that 3y plus 7 minus y is equal to 5 plus 2y plus 2. Okay, so you got a lot of different variables here. Let's start easy and start by combining our like terms. That 3y and that negative y can be put together. If it helps you, write a little negative 1 right in front of it, just to remind yourself that's a value of a coefficient of 1 up front. 3 minus 1 gives you that 2y plus that value of 7 equal to, now we have combined terms here, 5 and 2 that we can put together. In that case, it's 7. And then we have a positive 2y. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and simplify. We're going to go minus 7 on both sides. Again, it really doesn't matter which order you do, so long as you end up with a y on one side and a number on the other. In this case, those 7s cancel. We're left with 2y is equal to 2y. Now I'm going to subtract 2y on both sides. And I'm going to end up with 0 on both of my sides. So now you're going to ask yourself, what the heck does this mean? 0 equals 0. So in this case, when we have no variable left, all right, and we have two numbers on either side, if those two numbers are equal, this is what we have called the possibility of all real solutions, or all real numbers, if you will. Okay, so what this means is any value that I put in for y here, both of the sides of the equation will actually balance. So I could put in 1, I could put in 1,000,000. It does not matter, these equations will actually balance. Alright, so that was number 4, and our last one's number 5. In this case, what we're going to do is we're going to do 6 minus 3. That's going to give you a positive value of 3. And then we're going to have that minus x is equal to 4x minus 8 on my right side. The next thing I'm going to do is subtract or add my x term over. So I'm going to have 5x minus 8 is equal to a positive 3. I'm going to add 8 to both sides. And 5x is equal to positive 11. And then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to divide by 5. Alright? And again, if you want to leave that as a fraction, you can totally do so. Alright? 11 divided by 5. If you don't remember, again, you're just putting in your calculator. That's going to give you roughly an answer of 2.2. Okay? So that answer of 2.2 you can plug back into your solution. So we're going to go back and check this. So I'm going to plug in 6, and then with that value of 2.2, again this is a negative value, minus 3 is equal to 4 times 2.2, and I'm sorry, I'm going to run out of room here, minus 8, okay? Alright, hopefully what you should notice, again, is that both of these equations will eventually end up balancing. Alright, in this case, these solutions both check out as well, okay? Alright, so hopefully this helps you out a little bit with solving equations. Again, AG6. Again, hopefully you got a good, strong background in this because we're going to be using this a lot this year. Alright, let me know if you have any questions. Thank you for listening.